Our people. One, we are the people. Two, a little bit louder. Three, we want justice for our people. One, we are the people. Two, a little bit louder. Three, we want justice for our people. One, we are the people. Two, a little bit louder. Three, we want justice for our people. One, we are the people. Two, a little bit louder. Three, we want justice for our people. One, we are the people. Two, a little bit louder. Three, we want justice for our people. One, we are the people. Two, a little bit louder. Three, we want justice for our people. One, we are the people. Two, a little bit louder. Three, we want justice for our people. One.
Welcome.
Gracias. Gracias. Me siento muy emocionada de estar aquí porque precisamente me conmuevo de saber todo lo que está pasando en la misión. Yo días atrás estuve un tiempo en México y hasta soñé la calle Misión. Tuve un sueño en que yo pues soñaba que estaba ahí y extrañaba mucho esa calle porque realmente esa calle me recuerda lo que soy yo. A pesar que yo estaba en México, pero yo extrañaba esta calle porque es parte de mí. Porque yo vine aquí cuando era una niña joven. Estaba muy jovencita cuando llegué y la primera calle que yo caminé en San Francisco fue la Misión.
Por favor.
Disculpe que yo me pongo así, pero recuerdo que en ese tiempo...
¿Puedo traducir, por
Sí.
favor? Sorry, thank you. I just want to say I'm very emotional being here today with everything that's going on in the mission. I want to say that, I want to talk about, Mission Street. It's a very important street for me. I want to say I was in Mexico a few days ago, and as I was thinking about it, all I could think about was being back in Mission Street. I came here very young, and one of the first streets that I walked down here in San Francisco was Mission Street.
No estuve hace 2 días, fue tiempo atrás.
Some time ago, sorry, when I was in Mexico.
Es muy emocionante, pero también necesito hablar y necesito calmar esa emoción que siento. Y realmente comprendo toda la gente que está aquí, que me siento pues conmovida y me siento también pues conectada con todos los que estamos aquí, porque de hecho es parte de nuestra cultura. Soy latina, llegué muy joven a este país y me identifico mucho con esta calle y con mi vecindario. Lo más difícil es ahorita no poder vivir en el vecindario, en la calle, poder ir de compras o poder parquear un carro, porque pues mis hijos de hecho me han venido a visitar y ellos quisieron pasear conmigo ahí precisamente y se les hizo muy difícil parquearse y tuvimos que irnos a otra zona, pero me dolió mucho porque yo quería convivir con ellos en una parte que es más donde yo me identifico en este vecindario, que es lo que representa para mí desde el tiempo que estoy aquí viviendo en San Francisco. De no poderles enseñar a mis hijos parte de mi cultura o convivir con ellos en esa parte de ese vecindario, me duele mucho y me afecta mucho en lo que respecta con mi familia también.
So I want to say this is a very emotional issue for me. Identify very much with the people who are here today with this issue. Right now, that street's been very important to me. I've been wanting to share it with my family. And as a matter of fact, they came to visit me and we tried to park around there because we wanted to enjoy the street, walk around, but it was very difficult. And so we ended up having to go to another area. And it's just, I really identify with this street, identify with the people there, and I wanted to share that with my kids. And I just feel that it's just a very emotional thing.
It's painful to go through, o sea, está muy difícil, muy doloroso para todos nosotros estar pasando por todo esto, todas las familias latinas.
Her time is up.
You want to tell us what she said in the last?
She just said it's just very painful to see everything that's been going on in the Mission District. Just
Right.
a very painful time with all the differences, changes and stuff.
Thank you very much.
And also for the families.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Buenas tardes, gracias por el espacio que nos están concediendo. Mi nombre es María Avilés.
Hi, thank you for taking the time to listen to us. My name is Maria Viles.
Yo soy trabajadora de alcance con las familias de la misión.
¿Trabajadora de qué?
De alcance.
Thank you.
Outreach.
I'm an outreach worker for the families there in the mission.
Yo más que nadie vivo todos los días el drama de nuestras familias que viven en la misión.
Every day I see the drama that the families are living there in the mission.
Todas estas constructoras que están llegando a construir los edificios de lujo.
All these construction sites are coming to construct, very elegant buildings.
Y digo de lujo porque nuestras familias jamás van a poder ocupar uno de sus espacios.
I say luxury because none of our families are ever going to be able to live in any of those spaces.
No lo conseguirían ni trabajando las 24 horas.
I wouldn't be able to afford it even working 24 hours a day.
Así que estamos aquí para pedirles apoyo.
So we're here asking for your support.
La misión se está muriendo.
The mission is dying.
Necesitamos del apoyo de todos ustedes.
We need all of your support.
Porque están en contra de nosotros, de nuestra gente, de nuestra cultura. Nos quieren matar. Por favor, necesitamos su apoyo.
So this is all against ourselves, our people, our culture, and we need your help. We're dying here.
Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Vilas. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, supervisors. How are you?
Good.
Thank you for giving us a moment to speak about this development here. I was born and raised in San Francisco, born and bred in the Mission, and over 10,000 people have been displaced in our neighborhood, and people keep building luxury condos, luxury units for a population that's moving in to our neighborhood that we helped build. This, what we're calling the Baby Beast, is one of those projects. And it's up to you to help us not let this happen. I have a family of 4. I've been displaced out of San Francisco. I can no longer live in this city. I spent a year and a half in the studio with my 2 children to try to find a place to live in this city. And I haven't been able to find one. And yet, we still have luxury units being built in our community. What's going on? Just because you put a mural on the side of a luxury building doesn't mean people in our community can live in that building. I don't care that they put a mural on it. I care about living in it. So just because you put a facade that has a mural of brown people in the revolution, but yet you can't put people inside the building. What you doing? You represent us. You represent the people. Do your job. These people haven't come and sat on the table with us. They haven't sat down with La Cocina and even done a PDR space to say that we can have a little business downstairs that helps all the senoras that do cooking and cleaning and do food for us in our community. They haven't even sat down with us.
Thank you, sir. Your time is up.
Give me a minute.
Your time is up, sir.
Give me a minute.
Sir, unfortunately, we have to give everybody the same time. All right. So thank you.
All I'm going to say is do your job. We're here to tell you to do your job. We're still in this community, and we want representation from you. We want you to do your job. Help our people. There's people homeless on the street. Do your job.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker, please.
Buenas tardes, my name is Roberto Hernandez, and I was at the last hearing that you all had, so you know what happened. They got 30 days to sit down with us. I didn't get called. And did anybody in this room get a call? No. Nobody in this room got a call. We all came. So you know what? You need to check them. It's that simple. You know what? La Cocina, they came in talking about La Cocina. Well, I understand La Cocina can't do it. They want to charge La Cocina, what is it, $4? Yeah. $4? Yeah. I'm talking to you guys. Yeah. No, you don't. You act like you don't know what I'm talking about. You know what? So they got high-end lawyers, high-end lobbyists. You know what? We're here to be free. We're here to work for free, to represent the poor people. We're here to represent seniors for free. We're here to represent disabled people for free. We're here to represent the people for free. We don't get paid $500 an hour, $1,000 an hour, And all of you, simply just ask them to sit down with the community and work it out. We're reasonable people. You all know that. Am I correct, Director? Are we reasonable people? He's shaking his hand so you can see him. You can't see him. We are reasonable people. But they didn't do that. That's bad faith. Total bad faith. And I understand it. So today, deny them. Teach them a lesson that they just, because they have high-paid lawyers and high-paid lobbyists, that they just can't come into a community and do what the hell they want. Especially at a time that we are in today. We are in a crisis. A crisis. For the last 5 years, we've been in a crisis. And we keep coming back and keep coming back to you. And it ain't gotten no better. It's just gotten worse. So today, let there be justice.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. Next speaker, please.
Good evening, Commissioners. Carlos Bocanegra for United Save the Mission. I just wanted to speak behalf of the community and say that the last time we were here, we did get a commitment that these developers would come to the table, would sit down with us, would speak about more concrete plans than just the general vague promises that they provided at the last hearing. To date, we've not had a single meeting with them. They've now, seems like, fallen through on their deal with La Cocina. La Cocina has lost valuable PDR space, valuable workers that could have served the local community that exists there. We now have nothing but a vague promise of perhaps additional PDR. Of what that's going to be, at what price point, we don't know. Is that actually going to be a PDR space that's going to serve the local community, that's going to be affordable to local community serving business owners? Probably not without a concrete commitment. And to date, we've received no concrete commitment for the PDR space or any greater affordability. There also exist way too many parking spaces. We know that there's going to be a flood and a rush of Ubers and Lyfts coming in, not to talk about the additional parking that's going to be incurred and additional traffic as a result from these additional vehicles that are going to be parked at this building on a street that is already should be a quiet neighborhood. So what we would like is stronger commitment and a good faith attempt to sit down at the table with the community, discuss the plans for this project, and work in good faith to come to a deal that's going to not benefit only just the developer and the higher income, wealthy, affluent people coming in and utilizing those new buildings, but also for the local communities that has existed here for decades. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Tim Huang. I'm a worker at the Mission SRO Collaborative, a program of Dolores Street Community Services. And I'm here today to implore that all of you just listen to the community, because unless you live in the community, you don't really know what's going on, right? So planning or public comment is a space for us to tell you how we feel, right? And so, I know this happens every time. We always come up here and we talk about a development that's coming up, and we feel that the community is going to be hurt by it. And even if you think that, we need more housing, which is true, the community knows what's best for them. You can't be patronizing and say like, oh, you need this housing, you need all this, all this stuff that, no, we should really listen to us. We need more PDR worker space. We need all these things that people have mentioned before us and will keep mentioning. And especially in this political climate, how are you going to go back on the people? We establish ourselves as a sanctuary city, but is it a sanctuary city for whom? With all these evictions that are going on, it takes a big mental toll. So if we really want to do the right thing, there's got to be a place to start, and it's got to be now. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Patricia Cuadra Ng. I was wrongfully displaced from 24th and Harrison. I invited Hillary Ronan to 400 McAllister when they were illegally displacing me. She never showed up. Again, Ratco dropped the ball. I've been throwing barbecues, big barbecues. In fact, some of you probably went to the barbecues in front of my house. We've been throwing them for years. Roberto Hernandez, Mitchell Salazar, Eric Arguello, John Mendoza, everybody goes there. I'm sure you guys eat your burritos in the Mission too, right on 24th Street. I'm on 24th and Harrison. My sister's mural, Sandy Cuadra, is right on 24th and Harrison. Well, that building is not even sold. Just found out that the people in the top unit are still there. They displaced me. I was under rent control. My parents moved me in. Ovidio and Esperanza Cuadra, they moved me in when I was 11. They moved me and my sisters in. Unfortunately, we don't have that home anymore. We have been throwing thousands and thousands and thousands of barbecues throughout the years, Or I'm still gonna do it. I'm still gonna do it. But you know what? What I'm saying is that it's wrong. Now I'm in a shelter. Nobody knows this. I'm in a shelter. And they sit you in a chair. And I'm doing it just because I want to do it. I got a job. But I'm in a shelter. And you're sitting me in a chair from 9 o'clock at night to 7 in the morning. There's not even a shower. We have to run across town to go to the shower. We have to run across another town, another part of town for lockers. And I'm seeing what's happening. It's bull crap. My family are the Cuadras, the Herreras, Mabudises, and we are very, very well known in the Mission District. And you know what? This has to stop. You guys have to have a heart. I know for a fact that there's no apartments that are to be rented.
Thank you very much.
Right? But give us housing, that's all.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Appreciate it. Next speaker, please.
My name is Rafael Picasso. Born and raised in the Mission District, but I can't afford the Mission. And that's a shame. I grew up here, and I work for the city. I make decent money. But do you think I want to spend $3,000 to $6,000 on rent? That'll take my whole paycheck all year long. It'll put me just like the lady that was just speaking, on the streets. It doesn't matter if I make $75,000 a year. I can't live here no more. It's getting too expensive. A lot of my people, just like the lady that just spoke, are becoming homeless because we got these developers who want to build these units, but they're not building it for me. I can't live in these units. My people cannot live in these units. We want affordable housing. We need affordable housing. We don't need techie people coming into our city, driving up the rents on the natives.
We demand it.
Think about it. Be human. Have a heart. Think about the people who was born and raised here.
Straight up.
I'm not looking at them. I'm looking at you because I know who you are. Okay? Think about us. I'm born and raised here. I can't live here. Is that fair? I can't live in the city that I love. Honestly, I ask you now. Do the right thing by the people that you represent. You guys represent me. You guys represent everybody back here. Not these guys. They don't even live in San Francisco, but they're outside developers, and they want to come in and bring outsiders into our cities and our neighborhood, and then mock us when we do our Day of the Dead festivals, complain about our Carnival festival. These are things that have been going on for over 40 years. We are the Mission. Save it for the people of the Mission. We love our city, and we contribute to this city. You are our representatives, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Sandra Becerra, and I'm here to voice my opposition to the development of 2750 19th Street. This development clearly does not represent the values of the Mission Street or its community. Building like this one will not represent the vibrant Latino art that is visible on our murals. When making a decision on this matter, please think about all the families that you're going to be displacing, the culture that will be lost, because once you lose that, you can't bring it back. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Tracy Brown Gallardo. I live 2 blocks from the proposed project. I am a homeowner. Luckily, my in-laws helped us buy a house years ago. And unfortunately, my mother, who lived on 24th with my son, was evicted. These apartments or these luxury condos or whatever you want to call them, they're not there to help people like my mother who was evicted. They are not. Even the affordable units, the whole housing application process, no one I know has ever gotten in. I think you should explore that as the Planning Commission, because that doesn't even work. These are housing no one can afford, and these are housing no one's ever gonna get in. I don't care what lottery we say that we have, it does not really work. I'm also the board chair of Mission Language Vocational School, which is located at 2929 19th Street. We have not been in any conversations that I'm aware of with any of the developers, how all of this will impact the community that we're trying to serve, how this is going to impact parking in the neighborhood, how this is going to impact small businesses who need parking for when people come to visit and support their small business. This is just bad planning. All of these condos are just inviting people from outside when we have so many people already in the inside that need housing. And please, I implore you to look at the plan. This is not helping the people that currently live in San Francisco. It sounds good on paper, it may look good, but let's really look at who we need to help. We need to preserve the communities of San Francisco. I'm feeling run out, and I live here, and every single day I'm looking at my new neighbors and I'm like, oh my God, what happened to all my old neighbors? So we really need to take a whole look. We need to establish a cultural district in the city, and we need to preserve our people, the people that are here. We need to build housing for them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Norma. I was also born and raised in the Mission, 2 blocks away from the proposed development, the 2750 19th Street. I also work for Mission Neighborhood Resource Center, which caters to the homeless population, and see the firsthand the devastation and the impact that gentrification has had on our people. I am the child of working class parents who worked all their lives in San Francisco. I'm here today to oppose 2750 19th Street, also known as the Baby Beast on Bryant Street. Like Roberto said, we are a ground zero of evictions. It saddens me of the possibility that my children and my children's children will no longer afford to live here. We want to be able to live, work, and thrive in a city that we have always been in. Thank you for your time. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Olga Osborne, and I've lived in San Francisco since 1969. And I'm here in solidarity with the people of the Mission. When I first came to San Francisco in '69, I lived in the Mission at 18th and Guerrero for several years. And I've always enjoyed going to the Mission. I live in the Haight-Ashbury now for the last 42 years, and I'm a retired RN. I retired about 6 years ago. And so I have rent control in my building of 6 units. However, my building has been sold to venture capitalists 3 times in the last 3 years. So I'm right on the hit list, for being evicted. I'm 72 years old. I don't know if I said that. But I always thought this was my home, and like I say, I'm the first one they want to evict in my building because I pay the least rent. People underneath me pay $6,000 a month with the same layout as mine. And then they have 1 unit in the front they renovated, and it's probably $5,000. So, you know, I used to think I could live in that apartment the rest of my life, but I can't probably. And then I could be homeless myself. So I understand this. And this is bad what's happening in the city. The venture capitalists coming in, taking over, and the people who have lived here and contributed to San Francisco all their lives are now being thrown out. And if I get thrown out, I will never be able to afford an apartment in the city. And neither will my children, who were born and raised here also. They can't come back to the city. So please do something. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
So I'm another lifelong resident. My name is Carlos Gutierrez from the Mission District. And whether you've been here for 60 years, like my family's been, or 6 years, a lot of these people that are here from our community, they care about the well-being of our community. And you know, we've seen a lot of changes. And contrary to some people's belief, we actually embrace change in our community. Sometimes, but this change that we're seeing today is unnatural. And we can stop some of this unnecessary change. And we're talking about the evictions, of course, but we're talking about developments that don't really keep our community as a whole in mind. You know, the people that are evicted as a result. You know, we're here because we care, like I said, about the well-being of the residents. And can we truly say that, and not all developers are the same. We have some great developers out there, but can we truly say that these developers here today really care about the well-being of the Mission District? You've got to think about that, you know, and ask yourselves, is this project necessary for the community? Does this project think about the Mission District as a whole and the residents as a whole, and not to leave anyone out, exclude anyone out? You know, again, you know, we embrace a lot of these changes, but let's hope they make sense, though, for the long term and short term as well. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
My name is Scott Weaver. Well, you've heard people talking about this project in light of the whole, in light of what's happening in the Mission. And I think all too often in this room, you're looking at projects in isolation. And so I don't know if this overhead is working, but I've done a little calculation here. Based on the, if I could have the overhead, there we go. Based on the pipeline report, which is very difficult to go through, and then looking through the SF information map to figure out how many units are past environmental review, built, or entitled in the Mission District alone. And the number I came up with is 3414. I did not count buildings with 10 or few units, except for, I think, in 2 instances that I was familiar with the building. That's a lot more than the preferred project of the Eastern Neighborhoods Plan, which was 1,600, that's the wrong number, it's 1,692. And it's a lot more than was studied in the Eastern Neighborhoods EIR, which was 2054. So we're overbuilding right now. Halfway through the Eastern Neighborhoods Plan, we are twice as many units right now as the preferred project, and way more by any calculation of that was analyzed by the EIR. So how can the mitigation set forth in the EIR, the impacts identified by the EIR and the Eastern Neighborhoods Plan, how can that possibly be relevant in today's world? When you're looking at each of these projects individually, how can this plan possibly be relevant? Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Marie Sorensen, and Commissioner Koppel, you said some on the Ellis Street, yes, some projects go through and then others crash. Well, here's the crash. I was in on those negotiations, and after the last time I was here with you with them, we haven't heard anything as you've heard. So I'm not even going to address it. I'm just going to say, you know, this proliferation of buildings that we have coming online around the Mission, I swear to God, they all look like prisons. And this one either looks like a prison or a mental institution. It's like that Stanley I didn't even know it was Stanley Sadowitz, but everybody loves him, but I think he's really overrated at South Van Ness and 15th. My God, I mean, let's get a little aesthetic going here. If we're going to be saddled with these horribly luxury, overpriced buildings, give us something to look at least. Anyway, I hope you make them go back and negotiate more with us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Hi. Housing equity is a very close topic, near and dear to my heart, because my family has been evicted twice. I went to 3 different high schools because I moved around so much. And the Mission Street has been the only street, even though I've never actually lived there because we couldn't afford it. Mission Street has always been my only consistent home. And when I came back from grad school studying public health, it was a ghost town. It is a ghost town. Every now and then, every couple of weeks, I'll see someone I recognize, but they're no longer here. I don't know where everyone has gone. Some have gone to Contra Costa County, everywhere. Everyone has had to scatter. Some have even become homeless. And I just really want you all to consider what we have to say today, because it is a public health issue. If we don't have access to housing, everything else in our lives fall apart. So really, really consider this. This can really affect people's lives. So please, please find it in your heart to figure out how we can make sure that we have affordable housing for our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
I don't know if you know your history, but this state of California, back during the gold rush period, paid people, bounty hunters, to kill Native Americans to take their land. You're part of that. Because through you, an established system of capitalism, you're allowing these developers to kill us. Fuck you. You know what I'm trying to say? You want respect because you sit up there? Well, give us our respect. What the hell you think's going on today? You make that little girl cry. You make old people come in and beg for you. Hell no! You're wrong. Stop being bounty hunters for the rich and famous. We are like your children. We are like your cousins. We are human beings, and we want and we will stay in our community. I don't give a fuck what you do. We have to survive. We will survive. Don't side with them anymore. I'm telling you, because we're going to come knock at your front door. We're going to be at your door in your children's school telling them what you are really about. Are you for the people? Or are you for the rich people? You have to make a determination. Or maybe you made it already, so I don't give a fuck who you are then. If you don't come on our side, then you are subjective to the power of the rich, and we will fight you to the end. Good night.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Commissioners, you've received emails from me giving you updates on the status of the negotiations that you had directed the project sponsor to participate in. We being United to Save the Mission, which represents a couple dozen community organizations that are on the front lines in the mission, that are providing the services to those who have been evicted, to those who need housing, to those who need shelter, and to those who need compassion. This project has many deficits besides the fact that you told them to sit with us and they told us no. As we brought to you last November 30th, it was a lot of promises with no details. And then when they sat down, we did sit down with them since November 30th. When we sat down and actually started getting into details, all of a sudden negotiations stopped. La Cocina is the one that everybody's talking about that would be doing an accelerator restaurant entrepreneur place. And when they got into the details and they were told $4 a square foot, they even said okay to that. But then actually what the build out needed to be, what everything needed to be, they just said, look, we're good. We'll just come to the commission. We don't need to negotiate. And they canceled our negotiations that were set for a week or so ago. So this project is not consistent with the mission area plan, which includes their number one goal is strengthen the mission's existing mixed-use character and maintaining the neighborhood as a place to live and work. By taking away the PDR space on the ground floor, they are not providing a mix. They just now popped up with a 2,500 out of the 7,500 square feet that they're going to be taking away as PDR. But what does that mean? What are the details? This is not an ironed out mitigation plan. As you can hear, the mission is overbuilt. The mission EIR is overdone. We need to really sit down and get into the details.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Commissioners, I am a fourth-generation San Franciscan resident. We are in dire need of housing. Please approve this project without further delay. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, I'm her sister, so I'm also fourth generation. Anyway, we are the owners of the building of 27, and nobody's being displaced other than us. We're moving to a different part of the city, and we're all on board with the project, and we are supplying affordable housing, as well as across the street is doing affordable housing, so please approve this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Eric Arguello. I live a couple of blocks away from this project. And what you're hearing today is a lot of anger, frustration, and suffering that our community is experiencing in the neighborhood. And today we marched from 20th and Mission all the way to City Hall. And these folks in the rain, you know, in the middle of the week came to tell you how they're feeling and how angry they are. And it's been a really struggle for our community. Now, for developers to come in and tell us what's good for us, you know, that's not the way it should be. We need to tell them what works for us, what's best for us. We have worked with a lot of developers that came to the table. It was tough, yes, but at least we had that conversation. And they heard us and they said, oh, this is what's good for us and this is what we can offer to you guys and to your community. We didn't get that opportunity here. These two other ladies that came in the front, they don't know what gentrification is. They don't know how it works and how it displaces people. You put a building like this with this many luxury units, it's a ripple effect on all the surrounding neighborhood and buildings, and it causes displacement. That's what gentrification is. Thank you. Please reject this project.
Thank you.
Good, I guess, evening, Commissioners. Peter Papadopoulos. I'm here today with the Mission Economic Development Agency. And I think we heard a lot of compelling testimony about what people's concerns are and how upset they are about these projects. And I just want to focus in, therefore, on a couple of technical points that I hope you'll consider here. This is a lot of concern here, specifically about the PDR space. And when we look at what I think the Commission, my interpretation at least of what the Commission asked of last time around, was for them to go back and talk to the community about finalizing a real deal to use this space with something that's critical in our PDR spaces as a space of empowerment and opportunity for our working class. And that's the kind of thing that La Cocina does very well. Myself, along with many others, have spoken with La Cocina and tried to develop a clear plan for that. So we're very disappointed that the project sponsor didn't follow through, as we believe they were directed by you, to try to work out a deal on that front. I don't think this offer of 2,500 square feet is the kind of thing we're looking for. It's only a small amount of the space in what is, I mean, let's face it, Bryant Street is very much gentrifying rapidly now, right? You can get a high-end meal there now in what was just recently only a blue-collar job space. So, again, we don't know what it is. Could be an upscale brew pub, right? And that's the kind of thing we're working to change with the city right now. But for now, without something clear there, this offer is A, not acceptable to the community, and B, it's not in accordance with what you directed them to do. So we hope that you will weigh that into your decision right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
This being planning, it wouldn't be a hearing without facts and figures, but I'm only going to drop one. Since the year 2000, working class people, like the people from the community who have been speaking this afternoon and this evening about their suffering and their anger and their experiences, have been replaced by high-end earners in the Mission at almost 2 to 1. Now, you may or may not be willing to accept that projects such as this have a ripple effect around them and induce displacement, but what we do know is that there is a need for affordable units, that is the most effective way to stop this kind of dynamic. Well, have the project sponsors ever negotiated about this in good faith? No. Have they ever negotiated about anything whatsoever in good faith? Clearly not, even after you ask them to do so. They simply are not negotiating. That alone is reason enough for you to reject this project, and I'm asking that you do so. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, commissioners. I am Benny Yee, originally born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. And right now, I'm the day labor program. I represent the SF Day Labor Program Women's Collective. And this just really makes me sick to be an American or especially a San Franciscan. It's because everything is going up for no reason, especially for rich people and the poor. And the rich gets richer and the poor get poorer. Come on, that's literally bullshit for everybody. And there's no love, and you think we are all Americans, united we stand, and departed we fall? Sure enough, departed we fall. Show some compassion, show some love. Other than that, if we go to 2019 like this in advance, man, I'm done talking. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Yee. Any additional public comment on this item? Seeing none, we'll close public comment and open it up to commissioner questions and comments. Commissioner Melgar.
Okay, I guess I'll go first. I have a lot to say.
Oh, we wanted you to go first.
So I will be voting against this project. You probably expected that, but I do, want to say something about this because there are, like Mr. Weaver stated, thousands of units in the pipeline in the Mission. And a couple weeks ago, somebody put in my packet the book about screeching owls and vomiting anarchists, which I read in the bathtub one day, and it was cute. I mean, it reminded me a little bit of the illustrated Marx book that my mom got me when I was 6 years old. But what was missing in that book, which I think was a smart analysis in a libertarian kind of way, was anything about race in America, and race has been the defining factor in real estate prices in America and in our cities. So San Francisco had a terrible history with redevelopment in the Western Addition. We fought redevelopment in the Mission. The reason why there are parcels that were depreciated in terms of their real estate value all over the Mission is because 40, 50 years ago, the federal government engaged in redlining. And also, nobody wanted to live next to brown people and gay people and black people. And what you guys are now seeing is that has, kind of gone away. And that's a good thing. But what I feel is that for decades, the community suffered from disinvestment, from not being able to get a mortgage, from not being able to get insurance, from disinvestment in public schools, our preschools, that we still have a huge gap between Latino children, Black children, and everyone else in this town. And that is all related to disinvestment and lack of services. So developers now coming into these neighborhoods wanting to develop and capture that differential between what the market now will give you for that land and what you paid for it so many years ago, as far as I'm concerned, need to contribute to that community for the pain the community has suffered for hundreds of years of disinvestment. So I will not be supporting this project. I don't think it's good enough. I think we were very clear. I don't see anything in the packet. You said in your presentation that your consultant agreed to run this program, but that does nothing for me. I actually want to see a term sheet. I want to see it in writing. And I think that that's what we told you to do last time, and you didn't do it. So I think that is my standard and my expectation. It's obviously we didn't make it into the eastern neighborhoods, but I will be, voting against this project. And I think for future projects, my standard is that I want developers to engage in good faith with the community and be able to contribute to the community that they're coming into, because this community has suffered. Thank you.
Commissioner Moore.
This commission has spent an extraordinary amount of time listening to testimony, reviewing the project. The instructions we gave the last time we heard it were very clear. I'm happy to see the reveal on the building, but that was just a minor part of the essence of this project. There was indeed an agreement that the commission continued the project with a specific instruction that the community and the developer meet and come back with clearly defined terms spelled out about how the ground floor in La Cucina would be integrated into the project. That is at least what I recall the instructions to be, similar to what Commissioner Melgar is summarizing, and at this moment I cannot support the project based on the fact that we gave clear instructions and they are not in front of me today.
Commissioner Koppel.
Ms. Sorenstam said it best. We had a project here earlier today where there was overwhelming support and no opposition. That is definitely not the case here. I did see that the project sponsor did go a little above the minimum by offering up one extra BMR unit. I don't think that's going to do it on this one. And also the fact that they're asking for 3 separate exceptions from the planning code. Also don't think this project is ready just yet. And at the absolute bare minimum, you've got to sit down with the community.
Yeah, I agree with that we couldn't approve the project as it is today. I mean, we've had projects that we've approved in the mission. We've had projects where there's been neighborhood support in the mission. I'm not against housing. I think we need to build housing. There's some comments. I don't think denying projects necessarily helps us solve the crisis of gentrification and displacement, which we see all the time. I live off Divisadero, which I've mentioned to many people. There's not a lot of housing being built, but the same crisis of affordability and gentrification are facing that neighborhood. So we need to find the tools in which to solve some of those issues. And in many ways, we look to the community to negotiate with developers and come with projects that we think work, that have higher levels of affordability, that have ground floor space that's not a gentrifying factor, that it is all PDR, and we're just not here on this project. So it's disappointing to hear that there was no discussion. I'd like to give it the opportunity to have more discussion. I think just killing housing projects doesn't work. I think making them better in having a good faith negotiation with the community does. So I'd like to continue this and give it enough time that the neighborhood and the folks who are proposing this project can meet in good faith and figure out a project that does what Commissioner Melgar says and actually provides benefits that are significant and meaningful